In a tense and thrilling situation, they staged a shooting scene, and old Dan, like a complete fool, took the blame for it, which made furious Jack want to slam the table. He snatched the gun and aimed at Dan's head, but Dan's calmness was like watching a movie. Because Dan held Jack's dirty secrets, if Jack dared to talk, he could turn him into a convicted felon with a snap. All thanks to the leftover cocaine in his system. This was Dan's desperate plan made a week ago. If he shot, not only would he lose his own life, but his wife and kids' safety would be in jeopardy. Jack had no way out. He had to humble himself. Dan claimed he was acting for the public good, as Roger was LA's top drug dealer whom he had targeted for a decade. If he just sent him to jail, according to the U.S. judicial system, he'd be out and about in no time, untouchable. The real world's so harsh, an eye for an eye, only scumbags like Roger get punished. After Jack calmed down, the two rushed off to a deep, shadowy community, just like Roger, who got dealt with. After calming Jack, they hurried to a neighborhood controlled by the Hill Gang. Dan claimed he was delivering goods to a living family member, but when Jack stepped into the place, he noticed that there wasn't even a hint that they needed help. The brother of the living person led them into the kitchen, and Dan told Jack he needed to use the restroom, and with nothing to do, Jack had to play poker with the old-timers in the house. After an eternity, 81 minutes, Dan still hadn't shown up from the restroom. Jack leaned by the window, noticing his bald head was bobbing like a turkey. Turns out, these guys weren't living people at all. Dan brought Jack here to use the Hill Gang to get rid of. With no choice, Jack decided to strike first, trying to escape from these goons, but he was knocked out by a bottle from the bald guy right as he stepped out, and next thing he knew, they dragged him into a pre-cleaned bathroom. As the boss aimed to shoot, the bald man found the girl's wallet on Jack, startled as if shocked. The black boss blew his top, ready to take care of business, and then he called his sister, demanding answers. Subtitles. The girl confirmed the rescuer was Jack, though he took Dan's bribe. The black boss, valuing loyalty, let Jack go. After all, who said life's just a simple deal, right? The lucky Jack had a total wake-up call. He didn't want to be a submissive little snail anymore. Tonight, revenge filled his eyes, fury in his heart. Jack went alone to Dan's mistress neighborhood. Soon after, he was stopped by the Jungle Gang's dealers, but once they learned Jack was there to stir trouble for Dan, they instantly parted ways to let him through. Jack tapped the window with a pebble, drawing Dan's son from the TV. A single gesture was all their friendship needed. The boy quietly opened the door. Jack heard him hide in the medical room, then burst into Dan's room armed, leaving Dan stunned. But soon, Dan regained his composure and tried to pull the same stunt on Jack under the guise of a drill. Jack, fooled before, trusted nothing. He told Dan to drop his gun and pack the loot fast. But as Jack got any closer, Dan mercilessly flicked a cigarette butt at Jack's face. Then he hit the floor, pulling out a shotgun from under the bed to counter. In an instant, the tables turned. The experienced Dan trapped Jack in the kitchen. Just then, Dan's son suddenly burst out of hiding, yet Dan didn't stop attacking, leaving Jack no choice but to fire back. After that, a quick move startled Dan's son, giving Dan the chance to sneak out the window. Jack rolled over the roof, but as he landed, Dan ambushed him. He couldn't even get a bullet out. Ruthless Dan kept laying down the pressure on Jack. How could a rookie cop stand up to Dan? After a round of brawling, Jack was left gasping for air. Meanwhile, the deadline with the Russian mob loomed closer, forcing Dan to hurriedly gather the loot hidden in his. Just as he started the car to back away, the barely conscious Jack leaped onto the hood like a bullet. Dan was completely exposed and slammed on the gas, crashing into nearby cars, trying to fling Jack off, but only ended up spinning out and crashing into himself. Jack took the opportunity to throw a few KO punches and then snatched the money bag before dragging Dan out of the... Just then, the dealers heard the commotion and surrounded them, while Jack clenched his fist like a vice. "I'll make you rich. Come on, we are about to make a losing business deal." But no matter how much Dan begged, the dealers who had long been fed up with him just watched coldly, and a desperate Dan had to put on his own badge. He shouted emotionally, "Give me a chance, give me a chance. Just please don't do this." But as soon as he turned around, Jack shot him right in the behind. "You jerk. Next time, I'll send you to meet your maker." Anger turned into despair for Dan in an instant. He begged Jack for mercy, but Jack snatched away his badge with a swift motion. Meanwhile, the gang leader picked up a handgun, deciding to cover Jack's escape himself. Seeing Jack leave, Dan sank into frenzied despair again. "You think you can treat me like this, you scumbags? Go kick sucker on the railway, and you'll see. You think you can end me? I'm the real deal here. After 23 hours of being locked down, I'm this guy you won't see it coming. I'm a cop. I will rush in, while you're just surviving on am. This guy is trying to scare these usual lowlifes with his badge. But he was no longer the king of this place. Since Jack yanked him out of the car, his fate was sealed. An hour later, Dan lost everything to Jack and faded into obscurity, looking like a ghost. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, or Dan might just come back.